Philip C. Stittleburg, is that right? Stittleburg, excuse me, Chief, is chairman of the National Volunteer Fire Council. He is a member of the Wisconsin State Firefighters Association and has served as chief of the Lafarge, Wisconsin Fire Department for 25 years. Chief Stittleburg is a legal counsel to the NVFC, the Lafarge Fire Department, and the Wisconsin State Firefighters Association. He previously served as NVFC Foundation President for 12 years. Chief, welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me begin by thanking you personally for the long-time support that you've provided to the fire and emergency services of our country. Your support has long been noted. It's much appreciated, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you personally for it. Second, I want to thank you for allowing me to testify today. My name is Chief Phil Stittleburg. I'm Chief of the Lafarge Fire Department. I'm also Chairman of the National Volunteer Fire Council. The NVFC is a nonprofit organization. We represent more than 1 million volunteer firefighters and emergency medical personnel throughout the country. We are found most predominantly in smaller communities. Volunteer fire and EMS personnel serve more than 20,000 communities throughout the United States, and we save our fellow taxpayers about $37 billion a year by virtue of our donated services. Without the services that these volunteers provide, many communities simply would not have these services because they're not able to afford to purchase them, and this is especially true in rural areas. First of all, I'd like to emphasize that volunteer firefighters and EMS personnel are true professionals. We're trained the same, we respond the same, we give the same service, we accept the same risks, and we do the same job as our paid counterparts. The only difference is that we do it for little or no money, and what that means then is consequently we must have a day job to provide our livelihood. In my instance, I'm an assistant district attorney employed by the state of Wisconsin. The vast majority of incidents that occur in our country every year are handled locally, of course, and many of those are handled by the volunteers that I've just described. In those rare instances where there is a larger incident, an incident too big for the local resources to deal with, why there's a process, of course, to call in state resources, and of course there's a process for states to call in other states through the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, EMAC, as many of you are aware. When we talk about large incidents, I think that the images that spring to mind primarily are, say, the terrorist attacks of 9/11 or Hurricane Katrina. But in actual point of fact, there are on average in a given year probably 50 or more incidents that are declared as federal emergencies. And when the non-local firefighters and EMS personnel get deployed to these, they're expected to serve for an extended period of time. If it's a federally declared emergency, they would be expected to respond for up to 14 days. For many volunteers, absence from their job is a major impediment to being available to respond. Currently, volunteer firefighters and EMS personnel don't have federal protection for responding, and consequently they are exposed to suspensions, demotions, firing, other sorts of workplace retaliation for missing work because of responding to incidents. Now, some states, of course, have responded to this concern by passing legislation on a state-by-state basis. Most have not. But what is, I think, even more significant in this area is the chilling effect that the potential for job retaliation has. In other words, volunteers stand the possibility of being told that they aren't going to be given the time off, or that if they take the time off, that they'll be required to take their own personal vacation time to do it. And consequently, they simply aren't going to respond. So we have a very much of a chilling effect on the ability to provide the response that's needed. My view is that volunteers deserve protection. We call upon them to donate their time. We call upon them to donate their talent. We should not expect them to also have to put at risk their livelihood. We ask that the federal government provide for up to 14 days of protection per year. This is not intended primarily to protect volunteers. What's intended to do is to enable volunteers to do the job that they're trained to do, that is, to help and protect the public. Doing this would expand by thousands the number of responders that would be available throughout the country that pre-emergency planners can count on and they know are there and available. Now, I understand concerns previously raised, although I thought that one of the remarks was particularly interesting, that employers are trying to enable employees to reach a work-life balance. I would suggest here this is a work-work balance. The volunteers work in both careers. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.